If you clicked on this video, you're probably in one of two situations. Either you've already started an Etsy shop and haven't been getting any sales, or you haven't started your Etsy shop yet, but want to ensure that when you do, you can hit the ground running and start making sales immediately. Either way, I want to let you know that I'm super proud of you because you're already on day one of my 30-day strategy to reach 100 Etsy sales. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what you need to do, step by step, day by day, to ensure that 30 days from today, your Etsy shop has at least 100 sales. So let's dive right into what you should be doing on day one, which is today. Day one is all about developing your plan. The one thing that consistently separates successful Etsy sellers from unsuccessful ones is that successful sellers treat their shop like a business, while unsuccessful sellers treat it like a hobby. So I want you to start thinking of your Etsy shop as a business rather than a hobby. With any business, you need a business plan and a strategy to get sales. Right now, I want you to pause this video if you need to, grab a pen and paper, and figure out two things. What are you selling on Etsy? 2, who are you selling it to? Then, create a list of 5 products that your ideal customer would like to purchase from your shop. The most successful Etsy shops sell a variety of products that their ideal customers would want to come back and purchase, or buy multiple products all at once. So make sure you have 5 different product ideas that you can list and sell in your shop to the same customer. You don't need to reinvent the wheel here. You can simply go on Etsy, search for one of your product ideas, click on a successful shop that offers that product, and see what other products they offer in the same niche. If you haven't yet decided exactly what you want to sell on your Etsy shop, don't worry. I have a video where I did all the research for you and found 5 different digital product ideas that have low competition, high demand, and are relatively easy to make for beginners. I'll link that video below so you can get some inspiration on what to sell in your shop. And that's it. That's all I want you to do for day one. Once you're done with that, you can move on to day 2. Day 2 is all about getting obsessed with your competition. I want you to do more than just glance over your competitor shops. I want you to do a deep dive into your competition and not just the sellers who are doing really well in your niche. I also want you to pay close attention to the sellers who aren't doing well. Now, why on earth would I tell you to study the shops in your niche that aren't doing well? I'm telling you this because it's a strategy I use to stand out against my competition. I study these shops, read their reviews, and pay close attention to the negative feedback because I want to make sure that when I create products, customers are getting exactly what they expect and know what they're paying for. You should use the information you discover about the best-selling shops and the unsuccessful ones to make sure that for the 5 product ideas you already have, you write down notes about what you want to include in those products, what your pricing should be, and how much value you want to offer. Again, don't just make a mental note of these things. Write them down. When you're creating your products, you want to ensure that any negative feedback customers have about your competition is taken into consideration. Personally, when it comes to competing with others in my niche, I never create the same type of product and then list it for $1 or $2 cheaper. Doing this is a race to the bottom, and when I've tried it, it actually hurt my sales because people assumed the value of my product was lower than my competitors' products, which were priced higher. Instead of trying to outprice your competitors, focus on adding more value to your products than your competitors do. Let's use the example of selling Canva templates. If you're going to sell Canva templates for small businesses on Instagram, and your competitor sells a bundle of 25 templates for $8, instead of trying to sell 25 templates for $5, you should try to sell 30 templates for $8 or 50 templates for $10. Always aim to add more value instead of lowering the price. By the end of day 2, you should have a solid understanding of your niche, who your ideal customer is, what they want from their products, and what they don't want. Once you have all that information written down, you're ready to move on to day 3. Day 3 is probably the day that most Etsy sellers will enjoy the most. Many people actually start here before they do the foundational work of developing their strategy in days 1 and 2. But day 3 is all about branding. This is where you'll do all the fun stuff, naming your shop, creating your logo, and really taking your time to ensure that your logo and shop name reflect your shop's values and appeal to your customers. You also want to make sure that while you're appealing to your customers, you stand out among the competition. Don't just look at your competitors' shops and try to make one with the same colors or a similar name.
Day 3 is probably the day that most Etsy sellers will enjoy the most. Many people actually start here before they do the foundational work of developing their strategy in days 1 and 2. But day 3 is all about branding. This is where you'll do all the fun stuff. Naming your shop, creating your logo, and really taking your time to ensure that your logo and shop name reflect your shop's values and appeal to your customers. You also want to make sure that while you're appealing to your customers, you stand out among the competition. Don't just look at your competitors' shops and try to make one with the same colors or a similar name. I have a high conversion rate in my niche, partly because I not only add a lot of value to my products, but I also went against the grain. I took a chance and used bright colors, a fun logo, and made my shop feel playful in a niche where my competitors are more serious and muted. So when you create your logo, choose your colors, and pick your name, stay true to your personality and don't be afraid to stand out. But also, Don't overthink this step too much. You can always go back later and change your logo or tweak your branding. Now, for the next 13 days, you're going to be doing the same thing over and over. And trust me, you need to do this if you want to hit 100 sales in your first 30 days on Etsy. For the rest of week 1 and all of week 2, all you'll be doing is building your inventory. This is where your area of expertise really comes in. Whether you're selling digital products or crocheting, no matter what it is you're selling, you need to spend the next 13 days creating the most valuable, professional-looking products you can. Everyone's schedule is different, and the amount of time you can dedicate to creating inventory for your shop will depend on you. But I recommend that if you're running a digital product shop, you build up your inventory with anywhere between 5 to 15 high-quality products. When I say I want you to create your inventory, I mean that I want you to create each product from start to finish. This means creating valuable products with high demand and relatively low competition. It also means creating high-quality, attractive listing covers for each of your products. If you're not sure how to create listing covers that stand out against the competition and result in a higher conversion rate or a higher rate of people purchasing your products, leave me a comment and I'll make another video going into detail about that. For each product you create, in addition to finishing the entire product and creating the listing cover, you also need to figure out what you're going to name your product and write a good description. Don't get too fancy with the naming. Just make sure that in your product title and description, you're using keywords that your customers are typing in when they're searching for the product. You can get a good idea of which keywords to use by typing your product into the search bar on Etsy and seeing the recommended searches that pop up with additional long-tail keywords. Integrate the relevant long-tail keywords into your product title and description. This step is crucial because if you don't use relevant keywords, your product won't rank in search results and you won't reach your goal of 100 sales. So, spend some time curating a good list of keywords for each product. At the end of those 13 days of building your inventory, you'll be done with your first 2 weeks of being an Etsy seller, and you haven't even listed anything yet. I know this might sound crazy to some people, but as I said before, this strategy is what will separate your